still up for me? It's such inspiring to hear our first speakers. I've learned, and I thought I have so many years of experience, but when you listen to them, you learn new facets of life and new things, and it makes me reflect that there is nothing different between all of us women here. The career of being a CEO is not just a career, but the career of motherhood in itself is very difficult. Every choice you make is a leadership position. Whatever you do is a leadership position. Being a certified nanny, as Rebecca says, that is a leadership position. You are in control for the future of that child that you are raising. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to first of all thank the organizers of the CEO Women's Summit for the privilege of giving me the opportunity to talk to you today. This is for me truly a great honor, seeing a lot of women and some men. I hope that there were much more men in this crowd, because I want them to learn a lesson from us. And for us, learn a lesson from them. I have to tell you, my brother is over here. He's my 67-year-old brother. He's just visiting the Philippines, and I told him, you gotta come down here and see your little sister. It's such a great honor to be one of the individuals from whom the organizers believe that you can learn from me, and I hope you will. I will certainly do my best and impart a bit of humble wisdom that I have learned in my style. But I have to be very honest with you. When Rebecca contacted me last year, about, I think October, Rebecca, right? She said, can you be a speaker with the first Women's Summit? And she was really trying to sell to me, this is great, this is the first time we're going to do this. And you know what? I was hesitant to accept it. Very hesitant. I don't normally say no for speaking engagement, but I was very hesitant at the time. Why? Because it came at a time that I was having my own personal crisis. It didn't come at the right time, perhaps. I don't know why. I didn't want to face a crowd speaking about my success when I feel at the time I was having a crisis. And I don't know what was going on with my life. It was 3 to 4 months being down the pit. It was tough. I don't know, and I think I was having anxieties, and I think I was having depression. And it's the first time I'm admitting it in a big crowd. I admit it because I think by admitting it is finding more your purpose and what you really are. Perhaps it was as a result of accumulation of all stress of the job that it takes. I'm married to an American who lives in America, and we only see each other every 3 or 4 or 6 months. 11 years of marriage like this. It's a choice I made. But my son is with me. That's the best part. You know, without all of that stress in my career, suddenly what triggered it was a health scare. It was a health scare. So what is going on with my life? I became like a doctor to myself. I will Google everything. I'm sure you are as well. Googling every sickness that you have in your body. I became like a hypochondriac. I was getting depressed, I think. But the point is, I recognize it. The problem is when you don't recognize it and you won't be able to resolve it. It's important you recognize what's going on with your life. And you must admit if you're getting weak and you feel like you're failing. I was at the lowest point of a woman successful and strong in the eyes of my colleagues, family, and friends. I have reached the lowest point of my life, and I can never forget it. It was in July 2013. It's very recent. I only bounced back in November, perhaps during Thanksgiving time of America, although I don't celebrate that. But I only bounced back during that time. My health scare later manifested with a hair falling. I'm sure you felt that. Some of you had a hair fall. Men who are bald, I don't know. I don't know whether you can relate. But I'm sure you can. I even stopped going to the parlor because I was counting the strands of my hair. More than 150 strands a day. I said, oh my God, and I Googled and more than 150 is a problem. I used to almost live in Peninsula Hotel at the salon. Every day they will know I'll come in. I want in and out. Do my hair. I want it big because it is the stand of my confidence. You know, my high heels and my hair is my confidence comfort. You have your own, right? My manicure. This is important to us women. I don't know about you men combing your hair this way or that way to cover the baldness. But this is our source of confidence. And from July up to yesterday, I never went to a parlor. Never had my hair blown dry until early this morning at 5 o'clock to face you. And I am not joking, I am telling the truth. The Manila Peninsula Salon said, Ma'am, what happened? You've been lost for so long. I said, I'm sorry, I had a hair fall and allergies in my scalp, and they said, it must be stress. They recognize it themselves. I said, yes, perhaps. So my confidence was depleted. And my only son, a 10-year-old boy, my único hijo, still at the stage of needing my guidance, my disquiet and fears reached a point that I wanted to give up everything I have achieved. I wanted to give it up. I told my doctors, you know, I have so many doctors. I see all of them. As if they're like a psychologist, psychiatrist already. And one of them, my dermatologist, a VMV, you know, Dr. Verallo, right? We all want to be beautiful, so we try to get the best. She told me, see a psychiatrist, Rosario, you're just stressed. Are you open to that? You know, I'm very open-minded. I know people brand seeing a psychiatrist is wrong. Seeing a shrink in America is normal. It's very normal. Here, if you say you're seeing a psychiatrist, oh my God, she's a cuckoo. No, I didn't realize it has helped me. I went to see a psychiatrist. On the first day, the psychiatrist told me, oh, I'm pleased you know what's wrong with you. Now we go to the next stage because you recognize the problem. Because what's important, the first stage is you recognize you have a problem. If you have such a denial stage, you will never get out of the pit. So I wanted to give up everything. And the psychiatrist told me, don't give up your career. It is the only thing that's making you sane and holding you together. While you hold that together, keeping your confidence, resolve your other issues in life. And when you resolve it, rethink giving up your career to start a different career. Don't make that change now because there are other things you need to change. So many things. So I was seeing so many doctors, as I was telling. I was seeing, you name it, an endo, an ENT, a pulmonologist, a cardiologist. The last was a TMJ specialist. I'm not joking. You know, sometimes I joke myself and my brothers, and I said, you know what's a TMJ? You know, the temporal thing here in the jaw? I said, tension mula sa jowa. I even saw a neurologist, an orthopedic specialist, and a rheumatologist. And the last really was a psychiatrist. And when my sister from the States visited in December, and she was having all of that stress level as well, I said, I want to take you to my doctor. So I took her. I went to the endo and I subjected her to a endoscopy because she was having all this acid reflux. I said, that is stress, darling. And when I saw I accompanied her 7 o'clock in the morning for that endo. When I saw the doctor and the doctor told me, oh, I haven't seen you for a long time. She said, and I said to him, I'm recovering. And he said, good, hindi ka na praning. That's really what he told me. Praning ako. I'm always in the Makati Medical during that stage. From July 3 times a day, a week rather, not a day, no? 3 times a week. It's almost like my office. I go in and all the guards know me already, and they think I'm a doctor. I'm actually a patient. But simply because I was searching for answer, I was seeking assurance. And I tell you, I have 2 ENT. Not because I doubt the findings of the other. No. Because there were 2 different personalities. One is a very straightforward doctor. He tells me, "Oh, Rosario, you're here again. Okay, you just want reassurance, right?" I said, "Yes." "Okay, sit down, open your mouth, and I'll put a camera through your nose again." And they do. You know, my sister was saying, "Adik ka na dyan ah. Nagpapa-camera ka mula dyan." No, because it was something I cannot see. I want answers. When you feel like you've been in control of your life, suddenly you have no control of your life. I wanted to know. I wanted to see the logic. So I see the doctor. He said, "Okay, you're good. Nothing wrong. Still the same. Not progressed to anything else. Thank you." Then afternoon, I go to the other ENT. And I'm not joking. You know why I go to him? Because his style is different. "Do you want me to put the camera inside your nose?" I'm thinking, because I couldn't tell him I just had it that morning. I don't want another one. And I said, "Could you just look it through a mirror inside? You know, like the dentist, what they do, and they poke something there?" "Okay." So he looked at it. "Rosario, you're just stressed. Go to your farm. Go to your lake. And find balance." You see, why I go to him is not to validate the findings of the other. But this 2 doctor completes me. A factual doctor, straightforward, no nonsense. You know how we manage office. "Oh, you're fired, you're hired, you're good, you're not good." I like that part. So he was very quick to me. While the others will take the time to make me feel good. "You're all right. You're on the right track." You know, us powerful women, we want a man that will tell us no. But well, we want also a man that will take care of us and pamper us, right? That will still pull the chair for you and open the door of the car. And would still say, "I love you" every moment, even you're in the toilet pooing. Those are the things I miss in this midst of my high-peak career. You see, all my colleagues and friends, and going back to reality, that I was actually really depressed at the time. My colleagues and friends were very quietly worried and concerned. They weren't trying to show it to me that they were worried, but you can read it in their eyes. My high school classmates, one of them is here, Dr. Marla over there. If you want a dentist, you go to her. She's an orthodontist. They knew I was having a depression, and the support of your friends is incredible when you're at this stage. They organized my 50th birthday. I said, "I do not want a party. I don't want to see people. I cannot blow dry my hair." But they said, "Look, Rosario, we want to give you a party. But just us, so a few friends." And it was that moment of exchanging how powerful women are also have a weak point. And in that exchanges, I tell you, we were not just women in that dinner. It was with their husbands. Because it was a learning session also for the husband. And I wasn't afraid to share to them what went on with my life. And I gave them an advice how to make sure they help their wives when they go through what I've gone through. You know, my staff were also concerned because they got so worried because they have not seen me in such an aura of being down. Because they know me as being bubbly, always on the go, superwoman. I have been branded to be an iron lady as well. Not that I'm a slave driver, but always with a purpose. And I've always been called an exocet. An exocet is a missile, very small missile, that it hits with an impact. It was such a compliment. I was known to be a person that never sleeps, 24/7. I will sleep with my iPhone on my hand, and if it vibrates, I will read it. And I'm not joking, I'm sure you do the same. Right? When it used to be a beeper, it would be still attached to my body. You see, they all got so worried that on my 50th birthday, as a gift to me, they sent a healing priest to my house. And I'm not joking. When the healing priest, it was my first experience to have a healing priest. He came here, I thought he was just going to go, take the devil out of this woman. I thought he was just going to pray with me like that. But he wasn't. He told me, are you ready to make a confession? I was really taken aback. I was like, oh my God, I need to replay my life. What sins did I have? And I did make a confession for the first time after so many decades of my life. And I've never cried in my whole life until I did that confession. And it was a confession face to face with a priest. Unlike the confessional box that you don't see him. It's okay, you don't see me. These are my sins. But there, it's face to face and you look into the eyes of the priest. You open your witness to the priest. And you tell your sins that you will never dare tell anyone. I broke down in tears. I never knew what I felt. It was an overwhelming joy deep inside me, but I cannot explain. That wasn't the day of my birthday. It was a gift of our management team. They sent it to me. That means my managers realized something is wrong with me. You know, as a leader, they see you. They watch you. They see your mood. Is she in a good mood? Is she in a bad mood? Can I get disapprove or disapprove? And they have watched that I was down. And then that celebration never finished. When I went to their office, I was welcomed by all of our staff, over 1,000 staff. At the office, at the garage. They all did a celebration of song and dance. But at the last, they all raised their hand and put on my head over 1,000 employees praying over me. That's when I felt that they were all worried. And I have disregarded them. I never knew I was affecting them. And during that time, I shared to them the lessons. Usually when I speak before my staff, I will talk about financial targets, the goal, the 2014 plan. We must be 8 billion, da-da-da. You must do continuous improvement and la-la-la. All the rah-rahs of this world. But for the first time, I didn't say that to them. And I said, all the financial targets, all the goals that we have is nothing if you do not give a balance to your life. If you're going to wait to be sick before you are awakened, what is really the purpose of your life? You cannot bring to your deathbed the money or the certificate or the medal or the financial goal you have achieved. You can never. And I shared with them something that I've learned from somebody. There were, I don't know if you've heard this, but there were 2 people who was going to die. And they made a last will. And one of them said, I want to have a coffin which is made of gold so that people can see my richness and wealth. And then the other one said, I want the people just an ordinary coffin, but I want my hand outside of the coffin so that as they go around, they will hold my hand and see my hand. And we ask why? So that they will see that when you die empty-handed. And that was very striking. So I just told our staff, we are so determined in our goal in our career. These things doesn't matter unless you know the purpose of your life and strike a balance. Now, as an individual who had full control of her life, I just explained to you that at one period, I have no control. Other questions that have been sounding off in my head while I was going through that dilemma, that crisis. Is it my end? This is it? What is the purpose of my life? Or is it just perhaps I going through a menopause? Because I just tested last year, I'm perimenopause. Maybe this is it. It's a chemical imbalance. So I went to research about this chemical imbalance that it says it can cause you depression, anxiety. I said, this is it. This is my answer. But it was not the only thing. It just happened to be at this stage of my life. I was in search for answers and asking myself, where is my marriage going? Is it really the best arrangement I have that I see my husband only 3 to 4 months a year? Is it good that my son is not being raised without a father figure in the house and only sees him every 3 or 4 months and sees him as a playmate rather than a dad? Is this really where I'm going? I'm turning 50 and I'm imagining myself 60, 70, alone? No companion? I ask myself, how will I manage the future of my son? How do I cope knowing that a number of people is dependent on me? You know us Filipinos. You have extended family that is dependent on you as well. And we continue that out of love, not out of traditional culture. How will I manage all of these physical ailments? How should I manage growing company business that is, we were told aggressively to grow and be responsible? How can I manage my family and work balance if the amount of work remains the same and actually increases even more because the demand of the business is stronger? How should I manage all the stress coming from the different points of my life? How can I renew my faith among all of this? Should I give it up and live a simple life? Something is missing, and I cannot put my finger into it. Perhaps people see me as a very successful woman, as a telephone operator in my company. I started as a telephone operator. I was interviewed by 5 foreigners. And they said, are you sure you want to be a telephone operator? Yeah. Why? What's the salary? I went, 1,800 pesos a month. That's good enough. It's higher than my McDonald's salary. I'll take it. I was practical. I needed that. I traveled around the world managing hardship posts. Name the Pakistan and the Kazakhstans of this world. All the Tans, perhaps I have been. I have traveled managing hardship posts and challenging roles, and then later resumed my post in the Philippines, which I now hold the position of a managing director and a CEO of SGS Philippines and Guam. I'm also the chair of the Philippine Swiss Business Council, to be in front of a lot of Swiss. Any Swiss here? Hello? All men. It's very male-dominated, the company I work and the council I chair. And I have an advocacy on the working for working mothers. What do? We make sure that every company will have a lactation place and a place for child care. When I was just a mere staff in SGS, I was saying, I want this. My boss says, no, it's not the culture of the company. When I became a CEO, damn that culture, I want one, so we have one. My next aim is not having a lactation room only, but a room for our elders. Our mom, our dad, our nannies on their senior age, because they also pick up their daughters. And I want a place for them where they can sit and socialize with other senior citizens. And that's important because that is what is missing in them, socialization. And I want to give that back. But other people do not really see, despite this high position, do not really see the trials from my career and from my personal life and from within. I am sharing this to you because I want you to reflect upon and appreciate that in the path of our successful career, there will be time that you may potentially be at your own lowest peak, lowest part of your life, something I never imagined I would have experienced, but it happened to me and it can happen to you. I want you to prepare so that when it comes, you will rise above that situation. I told you earlier that I was hesitant to accept the speaking engagement during the last part of the last year, and after much reflection, I had recovered, as you can see now. I'm back. During our last management meeting, my manager says, and one of them is here, "Oh my God, Rosario's back. Take cover. She's going to give a lot of errands now." I was hesitant, but I had recovered. And I have accepted the invitation with enthusiasm to Rebecca in a text this only January. I am here to share to you what I have learned in life, so that to this I give you a short story on what I have experienced at a certain period. I hope I'm not boring you at this point. I'm only at the page 1 of the 50 pages. I will talk to you about how your positive attitude can be washed away as other events in your life can eat you up. When we start out as young, carving a future for ourselves, we always have aim high and picture ourselves in the background of success. In our career, our family, our self-satisfaction for what I've accomplished. But when we mature, certain realizations comes into life. At the end of my talk, I wish to encourage you that at a certain point of your maturity, you should realize where you are headed so that you do not lose sight of living a balanced life. It is like driving a car. You should not talk on the phone or text while driving, because driving requires your full attention. You should not be distracted, as your safety and the safety of others hang in that balance. You should not be distracted, because if you get into an accident, regardless of how minor or severe, the people dear to you and dependent on you will be affected. Now, I spoke to you earlier of starting being depressed, which is my present state. I cannot help but be reminded of one of my favorite movies, The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. Have you seen this movie? Not because it's Brad Pitt, but because it's a story of a man that aged in reverse. If you've seen it, he started his life old and then going back. He ended up as a child. Okay? It's quite interesting, and it struck me, because I told you first my current state, and now I'm going back the lane. Why? It is an exploration of life, the mortality, the power of love, morality, about not fearing the future, but embracing it. At one point in the movie, Benjamin Button said, "You can change or stay the same. There are no rules on this thing. You can make the best or the worst of it. It is about the choices we make in life. It's a choice I made, my husband in there, and I am here." Actually, it's the best arrangement. Joking aside, he's not here, by the way. He's in a web conference viewing me. The movie's message is also about always keeping an open mind, about making the best out of bad situations, about not allowing these things to bring you down. It is about living the present and savoring what it brings to you. The main character also said, "You never know what's coming for you." It is about managing both failure and success. It is about conquering your fear. It is not having control over, but an acceptance of the situation with calmness, and then you move forward. The character of Benjamin started life at the end, and at the end, life at the start. How would I love to do it that way? To start at the end and restart my life, that I can control it again and not reach the very bottom, but retire in my own terms. In a manner, I will also be able to properly address and deal with a crisis that are normally expected in my 40s, 50s, 60s. Who's in the 40s here? Who's in the 50s? Who's in the 60s? I'm not warning you. I'm giving you advice. to be stable towards that old age, it's a wonderful age to be. Because having learned from the present going back is giving me another wing with enthusiasm to start young again. Not to have buttocks, but the mind of a child again, facing all of the challenges with a lot of enthusiasm. Let me go to some memory lane, and I'll do this very fast. You may be getting bored over my career history. I've cut them already. I am known by my colleagues and friends as full of drive and energy. I can work extended hours and complete my objectives for the country and our corporate headquarters. Even my son described me in this order. Mom, you have a soft heart, but you have a strong personality. I said, what's the strong personality about? He said, you're always angry. You have a strong, soft heart because you always give in to my negotiation, Mom. My colleagues always comment that they do not know where I get the energy from. Is it the Lipovitan I used to take? Or is it the Starbucks Mocha Frappuccino? My friends marvel at the fact that I remain slim despite many years and despite having given birth. I believe my energy comes from determination. This is always I tell my bosses and my colleagues, you either have me 150% or you have me 0. At the young age of 7, I was selling fruits in the street. Pakwan, melon. I was selling it sa talyer. I was selling ice candy made of coffee. I ventured into early form of business, the palabunutan. I don't know if you've done that. Do you remember this paperboard game with number tags on them, and when the customer pulls something, it says, you win something, or sorry, try again. So the customer either wins a prize or tell your customer, sorry, no prize, but for a fee. And I always encourage them, pull again, pull again. I want more revenue. I was in charge of monitoring the maturity of my mother's pawned jewelries. Nagsasanla para makatawid sa edukasyon naming magkakapatid. Para may pagkain sa ibabaw ng lamesa. We pawn our jewelries so that there is money on the table for food and education. I was always the child sent to the wet market to convince meat seller to place our orders against a tab. Pautang nga ng 1 kilong karne. I joined many singing contests. I won't sing right now. Next time I have a concert, please come. In my high school years at St. Scholastica, and I see I have some colasas here, I was selling clothes and Sanrio items. You know where it came from? From the parents of my rich classmates who go to Hong Kong and everywhere. And they say, hey Rosario, can you sell this in the school for my mom? Sure. I have no qualms about it. I would sell it. Consignment or hulugan? Which is best for you? I even go to the neighborhood and do that. I was able to save, and I can never forget that the Far East Bank of the Philippines, my first 50 pesos savings. On weekends, I did part-time job as a sales lady selling music records, you know, in placa, long playing. During summer, I would sell encyclopedias, and at the same time, I was selling Life Plan. You know the Life Plan? It was with the Redeemer Life Plan, and this is my brother who is responsible for it because he gave me to his friend who's a Redeemer Life Plan agent. He said, Rosario, you can sell this. I was so young. I was in high school. Sell Redeemer Life Plan? I was selling it carrying an album of different models of coffins. I am not joking. I will assess whether my buyer has the maturity to look at it. What type of coffin would you like? What color? And there were some who were mature to take it, and some not ready to look at it, and say, I'll look at it later. So you see, I had those jobs. I earned honorario in PETA, Philippine Educational Theater Arts, acting on stage, production, or teaching how to act. You see, the CEO role is just a stage acting, in my opinion. You can bullshit them that you think you know what you're talking about. And a half during my college, I worked in McDonald's, cooking burgers, until I rose up as a local staff marketing. This is the company that has taught me. I'm not promoting McDonald's, but I owe to them certain values that I have learned. The value of customer-driven, malasakit, integrity, teamwork, and excellence, quality. And after college, I helped out running our family business, the computer school, which this brother again pulled me into helping teaching senior citizens how to use computer. At that time, it was called AppleWorks. You know, the database, the spreadsheet, the Word, it was AppleWorks. It was the first Apple computer. Even in my youth, I have never minded what type of work I was doing because I knew that if and when I set my mind on it, I can make myself fly, so to speak. Eager to prove myself, not to anybody else, I started as SGS, a Swiss global organization, as a telephone operator. To this day, decades from that point of my position, my current